Well, I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. We're just continuing on here. Today's a pretty exciting day. We are supposed to be getting all of our sheetrock delivered here in a few minutes, and then we will begin working on the sheetrocking of this house, putting in all the drywall. It's going to be a long process, so bear with us as we get into this project. We got all of the plastic up and ready to go, and what we're going to do, just as a segue, these two gable ends are still open and no plastic because once the sheetrock goes up there, then we're going to do spray foam insulation behind those and seal those in. But it's easier to do that once the drywall's up. But anyway, my plan is to start on this main room. We went ahead and contracted a guy to help us out with this because of all of the angles of the roof. As you see, it's vaulted here and it's vaulted here as well. So quite a few angles to cut, and then all of the lights. We've got a lot of work to do in this room to do the sheetrock, so we're bringing in somebody to help us get that completed. Hopefully on a shorter time frame and to save us some time, money, and energy. But anyway, we'll get our sheetrock delivered, and then we'll start working on the sheetrock. Our sheetrock has arrived, so we're going to get busy unloading it. It looks like there's quite a bit. So a little bit of a rant and a little bit of letting out a little irritation, but we have contractors that are going to come in and help us with this main room. And originally I had all the sheetrock set outside because I wanted to keep this room clear. Had no indication from them on where they wanted stuff or how they wanted it, but I could have had the delivery company bring it all inside. At the last minute, the contractor decided to call us and tell us 2 days before the thing that they weren't going to move the sheetrock in, that they wanted us to do it. And so now here we are at the last minute, 2 days before they're getting started, going to move all the bundles of sheetrock in, just Colleen and I. It infuriates me a little bit because when I had the manpower and could have done it, they weren't, drywallers weren't available and didn't provide any feedback. And at the last minute, then they come back and say, well, we wanted this, we want that, we want this. It irritates me because it's a little bit of one of these things that they've got you over the barrel and they know it, so they can demand stuff. And at some point, the economy is going to turn, and these contractors are not going to have the work, and then their attitudes will change. But right now, we're having to deal with that, and it infuriates me because it's not something I would do to a customer or client, but yet they feel the need to do that. We had the issue with the contractor that helped us with the trusses with that. I've had it with some other stuff where they just they either see your area code, and since we don't have a 406 area code, they either look at it as an out-of-state person we can take advantage of, which they find out dealing with me really quickly that they can't, or they hit you with this last-minute stuff. But anyway, we're going to get busy moving all kinds of sheetrock around. And of course, to add to my mood, it happens to be raining today. We're having to deal with intermittent rain. We're just putting tarps over the sheetrock when it starts to rain, and then we'll pull them off and start moving sheetrock again. Well, like I said, it just adds to my irritation level. It is what it is, and we'll get it done, but it's just one of those things.
So rant number 2 is I am too short to do anything. It's not the heavy lifting, it's being short. And I think that I should qualify for disability in every single state because of my shortness, because it's hard getting things over steps, up on walls, up the ladders, when you're only 5'1".
Whiner. So this stuff here This is a 5/8 inch. This is all for the sheeting for the ceilings, and it is a monster. My helper just had lunch, so she's ready to go. You can tell, look at the excitement back there. Anyway, we're gonna start moving this 5/8 inch into the house. This is what we're gonna get started with first, is the ceilings in the main room, and then the other rooms. So we got quite a bit of that to move in the house, and it is ultra heavy for sure. So today we are getting started. It's a big project. We're going to get this room sheetrocked. I got some hired people that are going to be contracted out to do this room, because there's just no way for Colleen and I to lift those sheets. We had to struggle to get them in here and to get them up on the ceiling and the walls in this height. They're really tough for us. So we brought in some people to do that. We'll try and get as much footage as we can of this being done, but I'm pretty excited to get underway with this project. So as soon as the guys get here, we'll get started. So as you can see, we got the guys managed to get 2 sheets in, and then we actually had to stop the project because we have some issues that go all the way back to when the contractors set the trusses, and it is a major problem we're going to have to overcome on how to do this. As you can see, there's a 2-inch difference between the bottom of the girder truss to the cleat for the truss, and that's the case all the way up until you hit here, this truss and that truss, which are right, they're 2 inches lower than these trusses that go all the way down here. And that is a major problem for putting in the sheetrock. Because if they put the sheetrock in, the problem is instead of being flat like this, it's now going to be like bent like this, and all it'll do is just pop out screws. So the sheetrock company guys said that there is no way until we get that problem fixed to continue on with the sheetrocking in this main room. It's a major dilemma, and it's one that I'm extremely frustrated and agitated about. Angry, I was that yesterday, managed to get past that and just figure it is what it is. There's either 2 solutions to this. Either those contractors come out and they fix this problem and do it for free, because they're the ones that made the mistake by not doing this job right in the first place, or I'll hire another crew to come in and fix that, and then I'll end up having to take Grizzly Construction to court do that. But those are the two solutions that I came to with that. I could try to fix it myself, but you know, I paid somebody to do this right, and they did not do it, so I'm gonna have to do that. So we're gonna have to stop with the sheetrocking this room, and then we'll move on to other sheetrock projects in the house. Luckily, we can still do that. So stand by. So to get these fixed where it needs to be, because like I said, these 8 trusses are 2 inches too high. I've hired a contractor to come in because like I said, the original one that installed these trusses is blowing us off and not returning our phone calls and playing games with us. So it's time to take things into our hands and protect ourselves. All right, so I brought in a separate contractor who's going to come in and fur these things out. And by that, what I mean is they're going to take a 2x4, rip it down 2 inches, and then attach it to the truss. And then from there, we'll readjust all the lights. I've got 6 lights I'll have to adjust to make that work out for the sheetrockers. But again, we're bringing in a separate contractor. That way it's done correctly and we can bill. And then unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to take the original contractor, Grizzly Contracting, to small claims court for the amount that this guy's going to charge us to fix this stuff. That's just the way it works out. I hate to be the guy that has to sue, but you know, that's the repercussions of his not taking action. He simply could have made some time after hours to come out here, check out the work and fix it, and stand by the quality of his work, but he chose not to do that. So this is a remedy we've got. So we'll let these guys get to work and fix that, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and hopefully we can get back to sheetrocking. Well, as you can tell, the contractors went ahead and got all of the furring in. It's about 2 inches all the way down on those boards, but you can see the angles that they put in there. They did a really good job, and it didn't take them but half a day to get this done. And they also even lowered the couple lights that I needed lowered and reset the heater return, which was a little bit above and beyond. So I'm pretty pleased with the work they did. This gets us back on target. Like I said, we still have to deal with the original contractor, and we'll see how that all turns out. We'll deal with it. We'll update you on that at a later date. But this is all completed, and now we are ready for the sheetrock guys to come back. When that will be, I have no idea. Like I said, it's summer, and they are busy on jobs, but we've got it contacted, and we'll see where that goes. But the good part is we got this part done, and it looks pretty good. And so we got one solution completed. So the drama of the drywall in this main room continues. We've got, like I said, we got all this up here done. I met with a different drywall company today, makes number 15, and that a lot of the drywallers want to just, like I said, they just want to hang straight sheets like this and be able to get in and out, boom, boom, and go. But this ceiling is going to take a great deal of work with all the angles and all that. And again, where this peaks out right here, the peak of it has to extend a little farther for the sheetrock to match into that valley. So it's going to take some additional framing, I think. It's a little bit, anyway, in talking with him, it might require that. So we're going to all work with them on getting that done. But they are supposed to come in and start tomorrow morning. That will be great. What that means is that I've got a little bit of additional work to do to prep for that as kind of the bonus in that, to give them a hand. I'm going to go ahead and have them do the kitchen as well, so they get some flat sheets in that and can make a little bit of more money off this, because this is going to tie up, and it's going to cost us, but it's going to be a little tougher on the sheetrockers to do. So I'm going to have them, bonus, I'm going to have them go ahead and do the kitchen in that, so we can get that done and hopefully get on to some other projects. But we'll keep you posted on that, and hopefully tomorrow they will get started and we'll be able to get this room done. As far as the original guys, Grizzly Contracting that hung the trusses, that guy, and I'll have to refrain from swearing, is blowing us off and not returning calls and not doing anything to fix his work. That's why we had to bring in somebody to actually do that for him, since he can't seem to honor his work. So that looks like we're going to end up going to court for sure on that. But I'll keep you posted, and we'll see tomorrow if we get drywall started.
there's some, see these, see that round can light right there?
Yeah.
So in this sheet down here, there's a few of those. So when we're setting our screws around those, anywhere within 2 foot, that's when we want to do what we call a soft set. So anytime you see an X,
Well, I don't know how hard it is to see, but there's 2 chalk lines there where the hip of the roof comes down. For these angles, there's a hip that runs right along the seam here, and a few of these are not even. It's another issue with the truss set, and so these guys had to work to try and figure out the exact angle to hit those to create the right seam for that, so where the 2 angles come together and look right. So they spent about 2.5 hours figuring that out on this end, and thinks he has a solution for that. And then on the opposite end of the house, we'll have to calculate that out as well. But we've got some work to do there. Also, at the end of day 1, I mean, they've gotten the kitchen roof on and most of the boards up on the wall there. They're going to finish off that. They'll start working on that tomorrow and knock off some more of that, which is pretty huge. I mean, these guys move pretty quick. They are professionals and they know what they're doing. I'm certainly learning quite a bit from them, and as we're going along here, which is going to help me on the rest of the house. But again, we're going to have them do the main room and the kitchen, since this girder truss right here ends right here at the kitchen. That way it's just a seamless deal when they tape and do all that. At least it'll look good, especially this is one of the first things you'll see when you walk in the room. I would much prefer to be doing this. I could definitely handle the kitchen, but with all the mistakes in the trusses and some of those issues, there is just no way that requires a professional sheetrock company to come in and fix those issues. It's way beyond the scope of a do-it-yourself guy. And as skilled as I'm becoming, there's just no way I'm up for that. Anyway, this is it for day 1, and we will check back in with them. I'm not going to get in their way with their work, but we'll check in occasionally as they're going along, just to show you the progress of what they're doing. But it's pretty good to have this done for the first day. So the drywallers had to pull out again today. Hopefully I can get the work I'm about to explain completed today so that they can continue. But this truss here and this truss here, when you run a line from right there all the way down to this peak, there is a discrepancy. They do this kind of thing because they were not set correctly to plane out correctly. And so I've got to rip some strips. I'm gonna have to use a level, figure out where we're high and then or low, and then cut some furring strips in order to even that out. And I have to do that for both sides of this thing. It's really frustrating. I'm beyond angry that the original contractors that we paid a lot of money for couldn't do their job correctly. I'm just livid. But anyway, I can't get anybody else out here to do it, and I think it's something I can figure out to do. The other thing is we have some other trusses here. I don't know if it shows, but right there is a set of 1 inch of sheetrock. That one is up too high as well. So we've got some significant problems. This side here we've got fixed, and now we are on to this side. You can see they started with their starter board over here. Everything seems to be planing out for the most part. We still got some discrepancy on their line. You can see their blue chalk line. That is where the angle is going to run, but you can see there's a big separation here between that and that. So I've got to rip some stuff down and see if I can get this sorted out. We'll hang in there and see. The drywall saga continues. Well, if you notice I'm going really slow, I have a definite fear of the table saw ever since I almost cut this finger off a couple of years ago on an older table saw. So even with this newer one with some safety features, it's still making me a little bit weary. So I'm taking my time with it just to make sure. But we're starting our cuts to start furring this stuff out just like we did back here. We got to do it up front to a few trusses, and then, like I said, one in the middle. Well, I don't know how well you can see that, but that first one is 5/8 of an inch, and that next one is 2.5 inches. I mean, that's a big step down in this deal to make that happen, and not too pleased about that. Again, these guys did a really crap job on doing this, and they tried to blame it on the fact that the building's out of square, but this has nothing to do with a square building. This has to do with how they set their truss buckets and the trusses, and so this is just wildly bad. But we'll continue on and see if we can get this furred out. Well, that took me quite a bit of the day to figure that out. I had to do some measurements to make sure it planes all the way from here all the way back to there, that is even across. They've got, you can run a level across the whole thing and then reset this upper nailer. So we've got it. But again, this first strip had to come down 5/8 of an inch. This one 2.5 inches. And the same thing with that one. So quite a bit of differential in the trusses. Not pleased about it, but we are hopefully at a stage we can continue sheetrocking. We'll know more in the morning. Right now I'm pretty well beat. Like I said, it's been a 13-hour day, so I'm a little bit worn out and ready to call it. I will pick it up back in the morning. Well, it looks like all my hard work in doing this stuff has paid off. You can see where we're starting to get the angle right here. Where the guys are starting to get it. It's a big step. Like I said, this is day 3 of fixing stuff, and hopefully this all works out, continues up to the peak and down the other side correctly. We'll have to just stay with it and see, but these guys seem to be kicking ass and doing a really good job at that. I mean, at the same time they're doing that, they're also framing walls. As you can see here, they're starting there, some more there, and then they're continuing on with the kitchen. So little by little, they are gaining ground, and we'll just have to stay with it and see how these go. We might have to still do some more cuts on the table saw to make this work, but fingers crossed, we're making progress. That's pretty evident with the use of 3 guys to lift these 5/8 inch sheets of drywall, that there was no way possible for me or Colleen to pull this off, especially at that height and those angles. So I'm glad that we are getting some help, although we are still running into a lot of problems as we're going on here. While we're talking about sheetrock, one thing to keep in mind for those of you that are looking at doing this is that they generally charge per square foot, and for depending on what the charge is. So this guy right here to hang, tape, and texture this kitchen and the front room is about $2.40 a square foot. And by that, what they do is they take a panel that is 4 foot by 12 foot, and they calculate that square footage, and they charge per panel. Where you have to be careful if you're hiring a contractor to do this is that let's say they use half a panel, they're still charging you for a full panel. So be very careful of the waste that goes on and how much is used and not used. And you need to work that out with sheetrockers if you hire them to make sure that they're not charging you for full sheets or big giant cutaways that go on. So that's one thing I'm monitoring pretty close is that, for example, right here, they cut a sheet in half and then a quarter, but they'll try and charge for an entire sheet, which is not kosher. So just something to keep in mind, and that's something we're going to keep in mind on this job as well. As you can see, we're making headway. It looks like my fixes to the trusses worked. We managed to get all of this sheetrocked and done, and then some of the walls in here. So it looks like those fixes worked. Staying here late on Thursday really helped out, and we got this licked as far as the unevenness of the trusses. So we're just going to continue on with this and keep praying that it works. We still haven't seen what the other side of the house is going to do with that major fix that the contractors did, but we're making progress. Well, so ends the saga. I've had another contractor up and quit because it became too much work for them. Again, what irritates me about these sheetrockers is that they want to come in and they want to lay all this flat stuff and be in and out and make quick money and go. When it comes to anything angled or anything like that, they in their mind they're losing money and they don't want to do it. And because the trusses are such a problem, they left like all that gable end, half that gable end, and this entire side over here is undone in that back wall. They decided that it was too much work for them and they decided to quit the job. I am beyond livid at this point. And we contacted a different contractor to help us out, and what he wants to do is have us rip out all of what they've already done in order for them to start fresh, and I don't know that I'm going to do that. It is a problem, but one thing I'm pretty upset about is they got frustrated and started banging stuff out. I don't know if we can see this up here, but this is all wonky and it's got holes in it. Got a hole right there that they just cobbled stuff together. Just did a shit job, to be frank. And this guy's supposed to be one of the more professional sheetrockers in the valley, which doesn't say a lot. If I did my job like this one in my career, I would have been fired in a heartbeat. But contractors right now are busy and they've got the customer over a barrel, and so they can do whatever they think they want to. But their time is coming. Another 2008 recession, and they'll all be unemployed. So they'll think about that when they need customers and they have bad reviews for doing so. Anyway, we will figure something out here. Right now, I'm kind of done for now. I'm beyond frustrated and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know if I could pull this off myself. Physically, I don't know if I can lift those 5/8 sheets by myself. I got to do some thinking on this and we'll come back to it. But this is where our saga ends for right now. Pray for a good outcome.